On today's Buckeye Roast, the latest Heisman rankings are out, and we'll break down where Julian Sayin stands in the national race. We'll also recap the top games of Week 6, looking into who all helped their playoff stock and who really hurt it. Back in Columbus, we'll dive into the offensive film watch, including a closer look at Julian Sayin's passing chart and what it tells us about his development through 6 weeks. And finally, recruiting buzz. Could there be a potential Buckeye flip on the horizon? We'll talk about who it might be and how it could impact the class. I'm Chris Drew, and this is the Buckeye Roast with Ron and Q right here on Dead Air Sports. Make sure you like and subscribe.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. We are back for another episode of the Buckeye Roast. It's your boy Ron James here with my guy QP Ski. Q, how you doing?
A little hungry in this early morning, but I'm doing okay. Not too bad, man. The weather's good, and the week has started through Monday, so only 4 more days until Buckeye football.
Q, before the show, we just spent 10 minutes me trying to remember the stat of the day because I forgot to write it into the note and I could not remember it. The note from the beginning of the show yesterday still says, shout out Robert. So we're going to do that again and give Robert a shout out because I forgot the stat of the day. I scrambled and recycled one that I've probably heard 1,000 times today. Q, let's see how busy you were at work today. Penn State and Texas have combined for how many Power 4 wins?
Yeah, well, I did not see the stat. Penn State and Texas. Does Texas have any? One? I say Texas may have one. Penn State. One, I say 2 together.
0. They have 0 Power 4 wins. That's why neither team is ranked. Both of these teams were preseason top 3 teams. Neither one of them are ranked. Do we need to abolish preseason polls, Q? Or should they have Ron do them? Should we bring back Ron free rankings for recruiting, for polls? I feel like they just need a Hall of Fame Twitter coach involved in some of these lists.
I mean, I agree because the view numbers on that episode will be astronomical. That's the only preseason rankings to exist. Everybody will have to watch, so I will agree with that. And there'll be a lot of likes and subs, so hit the like on that video. But yeah, I mean, preseason rankings is such a farce, and I wouldn't have such a problem with it if they weren't afraid to just blow them up, but they don't. They use them to prop up bad teams. And then later on, we're trying to figure out rankings and who's a real team and who's not. Teams are propped up by these wins, like not to pick on Alabama, but to pick on Alabama. I remember one season they had like 5 ranked wins throughout their SEC schedule that those teams weren't even ranked by the end of the season. So they just weren't ever that good. And they added 5 ranked wins because of that. So I think that's what
I mean, but if we go by your logic and the Buckeyes keep scheduling cupcakes like Texas and the SEC, we're not going to have any strength of schedule.
I mean, I'll live with it. If Texas actually sucks, which there's no year they should, if they're recruiting one area, the money they spend and the coach they have, then hey, I guess we just caught fool's gold. I'll live with it. We played Texas. What do you want us to do?
Q, and correct me if I'm wrong. Like it's the school. They act like they're the only school with Lamborghinis. Every single one of my wide receivers has a Lambo truck. Like what are we talking about? Like they bring them. Like they have some dealership put a bunch of Lambos on the field so they can look at pictures of Bijan Robinson in one, and it's like we have 3 of them parked outside the Woody.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's more important you have them than the school have them, but. I mean, I get it. I will say Quinn Ewers' Lambo when he was there was pretty sweet. You know, he didn't do much, but that car, man, sure he was having a great time in college.
We got plenty to get into. It is our national recap on a Tuesday. We got plenty to get into and some Buckeye talk. I watched some All-22 film. We're going to talk about Ryan Day and where he stands in the pecking order of college football. Tons to get into, Q.
Yeah, play the song. Let's jump into it.
Q, we got to start with the Heisman rankings because yesterday we had a prediction whether or not Julian Sayin's performance was enough to get him into the On3 Heisman Poll. What was your prediction?
It was no. It was solid no.
Bingo!
He still
Not on the list.
Oh, no, he doesn't. I can't see 9 and 10. Oh, no, he didn't make it.
Apparently, Julian Sayin's not even the best quarterback in Ohio.
Shout out to Brandon Sorby. He absolutely did ball out over the weekend, so I will do him some credit. There's some other names I would be a little more hasty to throw over Julian Sayin, but it is what it is.
Yeah, 12 touchdowns, 1 interception for the Cincinnati quarterback. Out there balling out. But, you see I don't know what's more surprising, Q. Ruben Bain not being number 1 or Julian Sayin not being on the list.
Yeah, I think Ruben Bain did well. It's funny. And statistically, he's a really good defensive end. I think he's really good. The statistics are not statistics. Funny enough, watching that Florida State game, I didn't notice him a lot.
11 pressures, Q. You must not be a ball knower because let Miami fans tell you that 11 pressures more than Georgia's entire defense.
I mean, he did move the pocket, and I think that's a little bit of a Florida State quarterback problem, and he does not sit in that pocket well at all. I mean, I have plenty of criticisms for watching Florida State over the weekend. But
no, that's your man's. That's your man's. That's your team. That's your team. Those are your guys.
Just like Ohio State, I will give credit when credit is due. I will criticize when it's necessary. But no, it's like a Ruben Bain. I mean, I think he's having an awesome season, especially statistically. And I think Kim coming out, basically coming out of high school, a lot of people undersold him in his career because he's a little undersized. And talk about a guy like Caden Curry, and Ruben Bain has absolutely balled out, especially with the talent level and what people thought he was going to be in college. I mean, he's playing extremely well right now.
How much Marcel Reed have you got to watch this year?
Notre Dame game?
To see him continue to make this list week in and week out, you see Texas A&M continue to get it done, and we'll get into that a little bit later in the show, but they go out and do what you're supposed to do to Mississippi State and prove that you're a legit team. Like, I remember back in my day, there were bottom feeders in the SEC, and you go out there and beat their ass. And Alabama just went out and did just that and put an end to the Diego Pavia hype train. I don't think we'll ever see him again on this poll, and he asserts himself at the top of this list. Any problem there with Ty Simpson at 1? Because did I not call it last week? I said it's a revolving door. We're going to just see some new name at the top of this list, given whoever has the best performance last week. Ty Simpson goes out and has the best performance. He's at the top of the On3 Heisman poll. I don't know what's lazier, the voting for the Heisman poll or the AP voting.
Let's say, or the preseason rankings. Yeah, I mean, Ty Simpson, I've been singing his graces the last few weeks. I think he absolutely balled out. Now, I still do not respect Vanderbilt as a serious team. If you talk about the national conversation, and that game was, I would say that was a little better game than I thought it would be. I mean, I thought Vanderbilt looked like they belong, and credit to them, whether that's Alabama playing to their level or them playing to Bama's level. I thought they put it a solid performance, but Ty Simpson, I mean, man, he's top 3 players in college football right now. And I fully say that. I think he's absolutely balled. I mean, even that Florida State loss, I thought he played really well. So does he belong at the top of the list? If you're going by what we've seen the past few weeks, you're playing in prime time, you have a good game, you're up there. Well, he played in prime time, he had a good game. He's up there.
Q, I have a question for you. Yeah. As I look at this list, I see a name that I have not even heard this season, and maybe that's just my lack of ball knowledge, and it's probably, I mean, they're both on the graphic because they're about to match up for the biggest, probably one of the biggest games of the weekend. How familiar are you with Ahmad Hardy?
Not at all. So it's not just you. I mean, I have not.
What position does he play?
Well, I know it's not quarterback by that, so I'm going to go running back, or is he a defensive back? It's got to be one of the two. He's not a receiver. He's not wearing 29, no.
Guess. You got to guess.
Okay, well, cornerback.
He is the starting running back for Missouri.
Okay, I was like, it has to be running back or DB. It's one of the two.
Look, Look, maybe people are gonna call us non-ball knowers in the comments. Let us know how familiar you are with Missouri and how much you've watched of them. And look, this is no disrespect. This is more about our ignorance here, but also to the fact that look, there's no way you're the Heisman, and I talk about college football weekly, and it's the first time I'm hearing your name in week 7. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, I'm sorry.
I have not. When we have a second, I'll look up Mizzou, but I have not heard of him, and I have not really heard of Mizzou in any big games. Like, I really haven't.
Well, they have one this weekend against Alabama, so maybe we'll tune in. I'll tune in. You probably won't, and I'll come back and give you a full scouting report on.
Okay.
Hey,
No,
you know how
you
this thing
know
goes.
why?
You win the biggest game in the SEC, you're the number 1 of the On3 Heisman Poll. So if he goes out and they knock out Alabama, Ty Simpson, he's going to drop right off this poll, and then Ahmad Hardy and Bo Prabula are going to be tied for 1 and 2. Well, tied for 1.
Well, Ron, while you were talking there, I did some extensive research, as you know, I do some of my best work here. Missouri's schedule so far: Central Arkansas, Kansas, Louisiana, South Carolina, UMass. So yes, let's see what he does against Bama.
Yeah, 9 touchdowns, 730 yards on 103 carries. Like I said, this poll should be called the On3 Heisman revolving door, because it's just new names plus Ruben Bain every week. You're starting to get some regulars in here. Dante Moore, John Mateer. John Mateer was at the top of this about a week ago. Shout out to Bobby Schmurder. And then Fernando Mendoza has been right around 9 or 10. And then, the best quarterback in Ohio at 10.
Yeah. No shade to you. no shade to Ahmad Hardy. Ron, if you play against UMass, I'm taking the over in rushing yards. I'm just letting you know. It's just not a game I'm going to hold a high bar on. No disrespect to him. I watched him play this weekend. They play Bama at 9 a.m. my time. Okay. It'll be the only thing really on TV. I'll be watching.
I have a proposal.
Yeah.
Starting next week, and I know this is going to make doing the show harder because this is a weekly staple in the show. I think we start protesting the On3 Heisman poll until they put a Buckeye on there. And we're going to have to go outsource a new Heisman poll that has some sort of Buckeye on here. Because at this point, you can't be serious that you have 2 Hurricanes on there, one of them being a defensive end, and you don't have Ohio State starting quarterback who leads the country in completion percentage.
You know, it's funny. It's not even the fact that you have 2 Hurricanes on there. It's the fact they don't move. Like,
no, they've been
like
they've been at 6-7
the whole time. It's like, did they have a good game, a better game, a worse game? I don't know, because it's just the same. They've had the same game all year. I guess that
one could argue stagnation is regression.
They've been the level of consistency throughout the season. That's all I'll say.
Well, Q, I've had enough of this Heisman poll being that we can't get a buck. Have we seen a Buckeye on one all year? I don't even think
we saw Jeremiah Smith at the beginning of the year. He had the game against Texas where they held him in check. So after that, he dropped out, and we haven't had a glimpse. Caleb Downs was in there too. And I don't even know what happened to him. I mean, he hasn't had a bad game all year, and he's fallen off too, and no one else has jumped in. So
he's no Ruben Bain, bro. So I digress. We're going to continue to actually lament on this Julian Sayin snub. Q, I wanted to take a look at the and of course I loaded the wrong file. I wanted to take a look at the passing chart for the second best quarterback in Ohio.
Yes. I saw this the other day. Obviously, you know where your eyes go first to that deep ball they were talking about he can't throw. So laying across the board, I'll give you my reaction to it. I mean, I looked at 1+ 10-yard throws, because obviously if it's under 10 yards should be pretty much perfect. You look at the plus 10-yard throws, I mean, that deep ball, I don't know how you can throw the deep ball any better. And we talked about the complaints from the college football nerds and ball knowers across Twitter and America. And it's like, bro, if that's him not throwing the deep ball, well, I will take more of that, because he's missed 2 passes deep all season. So no interceptions and what, 7 touchdowns? Yeah, I will take it in that percentage. I guess his NFL QB rating is off the charts. And then you look at a plus 10-yard passes. I mean, obviously to the left, 6 to 12. You wish that was a little bit better, but I mean, across the middle, 5 to 6 has definitely.
I'll blame one of those on Max Claire's drop.
Yeah,
7 of 12 there.
Well, there's definitely some drops weighing in here. So, but to the middle of the field and the deep ball.
Also, Brandon Ennis's drop is there too.
Yeah, so not helping him out. But I mean, I will say you look at it, it's like, damn, I can criticize something, but it won't be the deep ball. I will tell you that.
Yeah, what's going on? 2 incompletions passes behind the line of scrimmage. What happened there? One of them was the tip ball that was an interception.
Tip ball interception. 2 interceptions actually.
No, Q. I mean, at this point, I don't know what more he could do, what more he could show. I guess he's getting the ding of, oh, you're throwing to Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate. I guess that's a punishment of being an Ohio State quarterback. You get the 2 best wide receivers in the country, and then you get no credit for it.
I mean, possibly true, but I mean, bro, we've been covered Ohio State for a long time at this point. We watched a lot of Ohio State quarterbacks. There's been dudes out there every season, and people's stats have not looked like that. I mean, it doesn't matter who you're throwing to. If you have missed 2 deep balls all season and have 7 touchdowns through 4 games now, 5 games, you're playing at an extremely high level doing that. I mean, I think Julian Sayin, when we talk about him and he's learning and growing in his offense, and remember, he's a redshirt freshman, like he's just getting started in his career. I mean, that's as well as you want to have it. Again, those immediate passes, that's something that's come in later in the season. You want to see him progress in that. But you look across the stat board, I mean, what team across the country is not taking that from their quarterback?
Q, I don't have a good answer for you. We talked about the phrase "no respect" the other day, and I feel like people are going to stop watching the show if I put that on the soundboard, because I'm going to be playing the Rodney Dangerfield "no respect" every episode, because I feel like that's all we talk about these days, is that we're out here enjoying the follow-up to a national championship and potential and back-to-back repeat. And like the national media, if it was any other program, would be on their knees. They would have to put a TVMA warning on before the segments, before the way ESPN sucks the SEC. But nope, not the Buckeyes. You would think the Buckeyes were squeaking out wins, not holding opponents to 5 yards per game.
Yeah, I mean, you would, and you just think about, like, if we were in a college football season where we had Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson, I'd be like, okay. But you look back at that Heisman.
Well, we
poll.
do have Lamar Jackson. He just goes by Bo.
If you just go by that Heisman poll, I mean, we've seen Diego Pavia. I mean, I thought some of his throws this weekend were atrocious. We've seen Tommy Castellanos. I thought some of his throws this weekend were atrocious. I think Ty Simpson is balling and playing extremely well, but if he had these same statistics, you'd be like, he's playing extremely well. So it's like,
I think he threw a pick this weekend too.
Yeah, I mean, I have to double check that, but I mean, he's had bad throws as well, just like everyone. So I just look at this poll and I'm like, there's not this many quarterbacks playing better than this. Like, I want to see the passing charts, because if they are, I fail to believe it until you show me evidence. Like Julian Sayin, regardless of who's playing receiver, a reconstructed offensive line, a new running back, regardless of the name. Yes, Carnell Tate and Jeremiah Smith are back. But besides that, it's an entirely new offense and new personnel, and he's inserted in there to get this thing rolling. And by those statistics, he's doing an extremely great job of passing the ball. And I think we've said that from the beginning. His turnovers were, besides one late pass, almost fluky. And outside of that, he's done nothing but get held back by his coaching staff. So why he doesn't get more credit, I don't understand. Why people want to criticize stuff that is not there, I don't understand. If you want to criticize something, he sometimes moves out the pocket a little before he should. And we'll talk about the offensive film later.
If you want to criticize something, we can criticize your internet.
No, it's a little bit slow. Hopefully speed back up. But that's all I got to say on that for now. Like I think he's playing extremely well.
I wanted to talk about some other quarterbacks around the country, highest graded QBs from week 6. I mean, a name that you would have thought banished to the shadow realm in Nico Iamaleava, to see him. Does that say more about Nico and UCLA or Jim Knowles?
Jim Knowles, definitely. I mean, like I said, Nico was out there throwing to me and you through the first 5 weeks of the season. There's the more we talk about this game, the more it's like, bro, that is probably possibly the worst loss that you can have, like in the season by any team. And I think it'll go through. And again, and I think about it now, like outside these quarterbacks, how does Penn State work their way back? They're gonna have to work some serious magic. But getting on Nico, I mean, I thought he played absolutely amazing on Saturday, given who he was up against. And he tore that defense apart. I mean, running the ball, throwing the ball, like that looked like the Nico we thought we'd see at Tennessee this season before he banished himself to the shadow realm and transferred to UCLA over
We had to play
$5.
Ryan Day's defense last year, so he didn't look like that against the Buckeyes.
Gotta say, let's say before he traded for a couple extra dollars in a Arby's coupon book.
I think he lost money on that transition, and he's probably paying more in taxes.
Yeah, he's definitely paying more in taxes. I'll tell you that. But yeah, I mean, it's good to see him back. I mean, again, you want to see the talent at quarterback around the Big Ten improve, and we know Nico's talented, so it's happy to see him play like that and be like, oh yeah, Nico is here. It's good to see him.
Yeah, it was good to see him make an appearance, and always fun to see him against a conference foe. I mean, we're going to talk more about that Penn State UCLA game here in a second. But Q, you see, Julian, top 3 performers as far as, I believe these are PFF grades, correct?
Yeah.
Yes. The top 3 performer in PFF grade in the country, still not getting the national respect. It seems like PFF is one of the few platforms that is starting to come around. Do you think a ranked win in Champaign is going to be the thing that finally makes people have to get on the bandwagon and start accepting that this is a potential juggernaut that they're dealing with?
I don't think a ranked win Champaign will do that, but I think if he has a Indiana Mendoza game at Champaign, they won't have much of a choice. We still know them to be a good team, so we'll say it won't give as much credit as it would if they had won that game. But I mean, the way Mendoza went out there and absolutely balled out, I think Julian Sayin will have to do the same thing. And then if he does that, I think he will be at the bottom of that Heisman poll.
Q, I wanted to talk about another top performing position for the Buckeyes. I'm like in a blender over here because I loaded the wrong file for my images. So I'm just like scrambling through here. But I wanted to talk about the offensive line.
Yeah, I think.
Go ahead.
I thought you had something after that, but yeah, no, I thought the offensive line, and we'll get into all 22 later. I mean, I thought the offensive line played extremely well. It's good to see Pro Football Focus throw them some credit, and it's another. I mean, we talk about the defensive line, and obviously it's a more sexy position than the offensive line is, because the best thing you can do is no one knows who you are. When people usually do, it's not very good. So that's kind of how you wanted to have it. And it feels like the no names across the offensive line, that we've seen all these guys before, they performed well. And you look at that, they powered to an average of 4.4 yards per carry. I brought up the stat, Minnesota was giving up 2.8. So giving up almost double their average. It was extremely well, because that was a task. I mean, we saw them open up the passing game, but it seemed like they had success on the ground too, as we did see from Bo Jackson and squad. So, I mean, it's good to see. We talked about Tekra and getting better. I thought he had a better game on first watch in this game. Now, Ron will have something to say about that because he's seen all 22, but we'll dive into that a little later. But I will say, as a unit, I thought this crew has performed extremely well. And you talk about going up against Texas. I don't care what you say. I don't care what their record is. Texas defensive line is one of the most talented in the country and has pros on that side of the ball. So that performance did you well, and they've just kept that streak throughout the season. So I think they're doing extremely well right now. It's good to see them get offensive line of the week.
Yeah, it's great to see them get the recognition. A lot of people had doubts about this offensive line coming into the season. While I'm over here, I'm like, I think this could be a Joe Moore winning offensive line. And to see Austin Sareveld put up the performances that he has at left tackle, to see pretty much this entire offensive line gel, except for what we see going on at right guard. But it seems like the leash is short there. And still, I continue to stand by this statement that, like, The best right guard is currently playing. We're just waiting for him to play like the best right guard. And I think he's fully capable of it. And we'll talk more about it when we get into the film breakdown. But great to see them get this recognition. And clearly that shows you how much that you're nitpicking, because if the position that is a quote unquote weakness, and I don't even think it's a weakness, I think it's a not playing at the highest caliber yet, still not there. And they're still winning awards like the best offensive line of the week. I'd say the Buckeyes are pretty spoiled if that's their biggest complaint. Someone on a unit that's being awarded the best in the nation on a weekly basis. I think they're doing fine.
Let me follow with a question for you. So, I mean, obviously, we've seen the Ohio State offensive line. We've seen some of the best defensive line around the nation at this point. You can talk about the Miami one. Georgia's defensive line is always good, though I would say they're probably not as good as they usually are looking right now. But seeing some countries, is there any defensive line out there that scares you and say, hey, regardless of how well they're playing, we know we have some mistakes. Does any defensive line get you worried, like, oh, if we did match up with Miami, Julian Sayin might be at times running for his life? I mean, not that extreme, but they might give cause for concern. Does any defensive line scare you?
I think Miami presents the biggest challenge from a defensive line standpoint in the country for the Buckeyes if they were to meet in the playoffs. But I feel like the Buckeyes also have a staff that and skill set that they have the ability to beat teams with quick game. I think the Buckeyes would try to get the ball out quickly. They have talented receivers. We've seen Jeremiah make plays in space. We've seen Carnell do things with yards after the catch. The tight ends get involved, a lot of RPO, and just keep those defensive ends thinking. That was one of the things that really jumped out on the All-22 was the amount of RPO and the variation of RPO and the different things that they're willing to do out of there. So I think they would use that to neutralize the defensive ends, and I think the Buckeyes would have a game plan. But if we're being real, you have to give them the credit. It's absolutely the pair of Mesidor and Bain down in Miami. We've already faced Colin Simmons in that Texas defensive front, and apparently their best defender is Hero Kanu, and we spent 2.5 years going against him. So I think the Buckeyes are more than equipped to handle any front that they see this season, but you hope that they're able to just continue to keep progressing because, I mean, we talked about year in and year out, we watch these alignment issues early in the season, but the one core thing about Ohio State offensive lines in the past 5 years is they don't get out physicaled. It's usually mental errors, and we're getting to the point of the Ohio State film season where you can speed watch through Ohio State film because you're not seeing those issues as much. A few whiffed blocks here and there, but for the most part, the Buckeyes are starting to click on all cylinders. And it's like, these are my favorite times of the year because it's like, for the first time in a long time, it feels like we're clicking on both sides of the ball. And like, even at this point last year, like we're around the Nebraska game. And that was like, I was distraught after that Nebraska game and we won. And I was just like, yeah, I don't even want to do the show anymore right now. I'm just so frustrated with this team. And like right now you watch this team and it's like, I sound like a dick complaining about anything about this team because for the most part, they're clicking on all cylinders. And let us know in the chat, what do you think the biggest weakness is for this Buckeye team right now, or your biggest concern going forward? And while you do that, make sure you smash that like button.
Yeah, I mean, if I was to answer that, just looking at this offense, I mean, like, I at sometimes with the running game, but I've seen enough at the running game, and I was a little more critical earlier.
But even at that, the biggest concern with the running game has been James Peoples and not getting a solid rotation. We've seen CJ Donaldson carry the load against unranked Texas. And we've seen James Peoples just put on, I think, arguably his best performance in a Buckeye uniform. So, like, again, it's at least watching the tape, it feels like, and we talked about it early in the season, all the things that we're seeing on film are things we've watched the Buckeyes correct in years past, and we're now going into, week 7, and it feels like we're starting to see a lot of those holes get patched. And if I'm a team that has Ohio State on their schedule coming up, I'm just praying.
I mean, I agree. I think we talked about it early, and we said you look at this running back log with Bo Jackson and James Peoples and C.J. Donaldson. Like, we knew who the more talented backs were, and Bo Jackson clearly showed up early, and we thought he was the most talented one, and clearly he is, and he's played professional. He's played like a professional very early in his career. James Peoples, he's been iffy. We've seen it. We know he has a talent. We heard a lot about coming out of camp. Like, I think that is a guy going later in the year that we need to start, and like we saw on Saturday, that we need to start pop, because he's the other one who has that burst, who has that athleticism, obviously a high-level top 100 recruit or right around there. So we need him to play like it, because we're going to need it down the stretch. And if those two guys, I mean, obviously Bo Jackson, there's no questions about him to this point. If James Peoples can continue to play like that, and Tegra can continue to be consistent when he's at his best, I mean, there is no concern. I mean, you talk about Max Clare had a big weekend. I'm going to ask you about him in a little bit, about what you thought of his game on Saturday. We see him get a little more involved here. There's no question about the wide receivers. No question about the quarterbacks. There's no question about the tackles. Like,
I don't, and again, the questions about widers, or the questions about tight end are, has our former transfer tight end elevated his game so much that he surpassed one of the best tight ends that transferred in the Big Ten? Because Will Kazmarek has been an absolute beast in the run game and has found ways to be more involved in passing game than we saw him at all last year. So, I mean, again, it just speaks to how spoiled the Buckeyes are with, and you see, and it's not even like it's an issue. You see Max Clare starting to get more involved and become more of the dominant passing threat for the Buckeyes as far as the tight end position. So, I mean, it's hard to find things to talk about this team and not sound like a sunshine pumper, because they're not putting many mistakes on film. And like, you see Ryan Day nitpicking in the press conference, sounding like an absolute psycho. And the things that he's talking about are like ball discipline on plays that weren't mistakes. So the fact that like they're being that nitpicky, it seems like they're on a collision course for the national championship.
Yeah, well, Ron, there is much complaining in Ohio right now, whether I guess you're Cincinnati or Ohio State. But nationally, there's plenty to complain about, because half the teams win, half the teams lose.
Half the teams win, half the teams lose. The Buckeyes haven't been doing much losing. But Q, we have to talk about what happened around college football this past weekend. We talked about this slate and this graphic. I mean, and this graphic was about as bland as the college football slate, and I just like tried to get myself hyped up for this slate, and it just didn't do it for me. The Diego Pavia, Johnny Manziel hype train, like, I have never seen a fall from grace faster, and I don't think I've ever like enjoyed one more than this one, because it was like all that hype around this game, and it's like, we watched Tommy C beat this team week 1, and we're acting like we're about to send a documentary crew around Diego Pavia because he's taking pregame kneel downs. Like, for what? All of that to lose, and Alabama covered.
Yeah, I mean, I was never afraid of Alabama really losing this game.
I bought the hype. That's why I'm extra mad. I believe.
You believe? Well,
I believe.
I'm glad one of us did. I will say I thought this was a pretty good game to watch. I thought Vanderbilt, and it's so hard to get rid of that Vanderbilt stigma of like, oh, they beat Bama for the first time in school history. Probably not true, but it felt like it. So, wow, they beat them for the first time in school history. Can they do it again with a more equipped team? And it was like, yeah, probably not. But they were in the game. They made it competitive, and it didn't feel like they didn't belong. But again, I mean, Caden Proctor, now the best wide receiver on the team. I mean, as running back on the team, I'm sorry, has a run for a first down.
Might be both.
Yeah, but no, I mean, Bama was Bama. I think I was more impressed with these Bama receivers. I get his Vanderbilt DBs, but I thought they've looked good through the last few weeks. They continue to impress. I think Ryan Williams is starting to catch on a little bit more to what we thought he would be this season. Thought he would upgrade a little bit, and he started a little slow for me. But I think Bama, especially offensively, kind of looks like the class. I am still worried about this Alabama defense. They did have a couple turnovers, but Diego Pavia was hitting guys in stride, whether they were wearing red or the Vanderbilt colors. So that definitely didn't help, and that probably lost them the game because they only lost by 9. So that definitely didn't help. I thought it was a decent watch game, but I was never afraid of Bama losing.
How about your Florida State Seminoles losing to the Miami Hurricanes, Q, because that was an ass whooping despite the way the scoreboard ended up looking. Florida State pulls it close against Miami's backups in the fourth, but we all saw what happened through three quarters. It's just like, Q, here, I don't know, like, and we're just going to lump this in with other games. It's like either Miami's the second best team in the country or the ACC, bro, is terrible. Terrible, bro. Like, Virginia is a ranked team in the ACC, a team that could end up in the ACC championship. I went and looked. I'm like, oh, Virginia must be undefeated. Nope. Lost to NC State. What'd they do against Louisville last week? A game that I told you I wouldn't even watch if it was a basketball game on the ACC network. They go into overtime and they win by 3. I'm just not buying the ACCQ and just everybody, no one seems like they're good. Like, I can't be convinced that there are any good teams in college football. Like, the only 2 teams that I have watched and think, oh, they look like they're good football teams: Ohio State, Miami, and Alabama post week 1. But I can't get it out of my head. This Alabama team that I'm talking about allegedly being scared of, I watched them lose to Florida State, and I just watched Miami pull Florida State's panties down on national TV.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think my biggest irk watching that game was watching Florida State wide receivers celebrate being down 30. Like, okay, bro, you cut the lead.
Nothing pisses me off more. Everybody's like, how do you not care that the Steelers traded George Pickens? I'm like, because he celebrates when we're losing, and nothing pisses me off than seeing players on my team say, what do you celebrate? What are you There is nothing to celebrate right now. Get back in the huddle and be as miserable as I am watching this game. Like, I don't want to see no celebrating if we're losing.
Yeah, thank you for getting into double digits in the fourth quarter. Yeah, this is one of the worst 6-point games I think I've ever seen in my history of watching college football, as far as the score that looked competitive, and it really wasn't. I mean, Miami was better than Florida State by probably 35 points, and they found a way to make it close. So, yeah, I think I'm with you. I think the ACC just isn't good, which it usually is not. I mean, Florida State, again, still might be the second best team. I mean, that loss to Virginia looks bad. I mean, Virginia beat them on the field, so you got to give them credit for that. But bro, I see Virginia against Miami.
What are we doing? What are we doing? What else would you fucking give them credit for? Q, we're playing football. They played each other. They lost. What's more else is there to factor in? Like, are they going to have a bake-off to settle the score? Like, they fucking played football and lost. Like, this is the shit that's killing me, with everybody twisting themselves into pretzels trying to convince these bad teams when you're watching bad football every week that they're not bad because they have to have some sort of teams. Like, no, we could get, bro, Q, what if this is setting up for one of those years where, remember when they were like, why would they let these teams into the playoff? Like, 4 is too many, because we'd get to those first round games and people would just get their ass whooped by like 52. Like, are we about to see that in the first round of the playoffs, or at least the second round? Like, a lot of these teams don't belong because there is a class of championship contenders and then the rest of whatever the hell is going on in college football right now.
Well, I think if Virginia is in the playoffs, you will see that. Like, I just don't think that's
one of the other teams that they're talking about as being a potential fucking ACC contender is Duke, who we saw get their ass whooped by Illinois, who we saw get their ass whooped by Indiana, who we're confident is going to get their ass whooped by someone this year. Q, what are we doing? Like, this season is just insanity.
I mean, but that's the ACC for you. When you have Clemson, who was a top 5 team,
but then you have Alabama going out and losing to these ACC teams. Like, what's happening?
They lost to Florida State. They did. I mean, I think Clemson and Florida State both have dropped the ball. I think Miami finally is playing around where they should be. I still don't know how good they are. And I don't think we're gonna know. I look at Miami's schedule. No discredit to them. They've looked impressive, but how good is Florida State really? If they were in the Big Ten, middle of the pack, maybe. Florida, bottom of the pack, probably. Notre Dame,
beat our best win.
Yeah,
Is our
Notre
best win now
Dame.
Washington? We look at game number 9. Washington beats Maryland. A big win, allegedly. I just saw someone talk about Maryland being a big game in the Big Ten. I mean, they have a cool freshman quarterback, and he's playing decent. They got him running to Dwayne Haskins' offense down there, throwing the ball 70 times a game. But Washington, are you rooting for Washington the rest of the year? Because it seems like everyone else seems to be hell-bent on selling our schedule in a year where they add strength of schedule as a metric to the college football playoff rankings. Like, this seems like the absolute worst year to have strength of schedule because no one actually knows how fucking good these teams are, except for me. They all stink.
Super. No, it is. Nobody's super. No, I'm not cheering Washington, man. Whatever happens, happens. We'll see whoever somebody's gonna have to beat us on the field, and then when that happens, and they'll be all worried about some strength of schedule. But yeah, until then, quick question: Notre Dame looked decent the last couple weeks. Who do you have right now? Would you take neutral site, Notre Dame, or Indiana?
The Indiana State Championship game. That's a good one. I'm going with Kurt Signetti. Marcus Freeman has disappointed me this season. But I don't know. It feels like this Notre Dame team decides to start playing football at the end of the year. I'm going with Indiana. That win over Illinois was impressive, and Illinois beat Duke, and Duke could be in the ACC championship. Lots of transitive property here. You know, this is how Slippery Rock won the 1936 national championship. Q, if you're keeping up,
They're still transitioning that property to get that championship. I only asked that to say, like, I don't want to discredit Miami, but I feel like Notre Dame is probably 4th or 5th in the Big Ten right now, and that you look at it, you're like, there's no one that's good that they're going to play. We're not going to know really how good they are until we get to the playoffs. You know, say beat your schedule just like Ohio State. I mean, Texas just lost, so we have that. So our schedule doesn't look that great right now. But I mean, I will say as the slate looks, I mean, man, as much as I hate to say it, I wouldn't be mad if Notre Dame found the ways back in the playoffs because who else is going to play in January?
Well, I have no idea, Q.
Right.
I had one
flag in December and January.
I had one more question in regards to this graphic. I didn't even mention game number 10 on this list, Iowa State at Cincinnati, but like, is it even an upset when you have the best quarterback in Ohio?
Well, no, because if you do, that dude's absolutely balling out, which credits Orby did. He did ball out in that game, but yeah, that Iowa State team had to be a lot of overhyped. And I haven't looked at their schedule. I know they play Iowa, which somehow they get credit for, even though we know Iowa's just a tough team to beat. But anything from the absolute opposite of unbeatable would be Iowa because you could beat them no matter how
perpetually beatable.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to beat them, but you should. Like, it's just like it's a weird metric, but it is. You should win that game. So I will say there, but yeah, I don't know where the Big 12 is right now. I would say I'm giving Texas Tech credit until I see somebody beat them because they at least look competent. And then Texas A&M, Texas is out. So Texas A&M, you look at them, they're playing good ball. Outside of that, you can throw that rest of that schedule in the trash.
Q, you know how I feel about PJ Fleck. I feel like he is one of the biggest, if not the biggest bozo in the Big Ten coaching ranks. And James Franklin went on Amazon and said, give me the biggest fucking red shoes you could find and the largest nose, and walked out onto the field and lost in front of 13 people at UCLA. How do you even keep this staff together at this point? Like, he should have had to walk home like Forrest Gump.
He came out there in the big red boots.
He would have had to borrow Chris. He had to have called Chris and asked if he could borrow him. Like,
I still do not believe they actually lost to UCLA. Like I just find like I rewatched the game, I rewatched the highlights, and I'm just like, what am I watching? Like, what team is this?
Watching Jim Knowles' defense.
I get it, but I've seen Jim Knowles for my squad 3 years in a row, coming off one of the worst defenses I've ever seen. That defense with Steel Chambers and Tommy Eichenberg and Ronnie Hickman and players that we don't like to talk about wouldn't have gave up.
You just named 2 NFL players.
I'm just saying they probably wouldn't have gave up 10 to this UCLA squad, and Tanner McAllister and some guys we're not very fond of. And if UCLA would have scored 12 against them, I would have been shocked. Like, we know this Penn State team has dudes, and that's the biggest issue. I don't know what's going on with Jim Knowles. Maybe he took the week off, which I wouldn't have been mad at. Like, maybe he just smoked a cigar all week and then showed up to the game. And even that, he should have held them to 13. like I just don't understand what happened in Cal. They're in Cal. No, they're not in Cal. I always forget. What is the word?
You don't know. You're California geography. You're banned. You're
I always want to say Cal. Wynwood. Is it Wynwood? Wynwood, right?
We're done. Moving on, talking about this Penn State team. Q. Look, there was this top running back in Ohio that ended up at Penn State that the Buckeyes did not get. Drew Aller, 11 carries for 78 yards, 7.1. What the fuck are they doing, Q? What? If they didn't fire Jim Knowles, they should have fired Koldenicki. Because why? They just they like saying his name. That's the only reason why he's still there. It's the only explanation. Because why is Drew Aller losing 15 pounds to come in this season and run 11 times in a loss against UCLA?
Ron, he ran a fake pitch against Oregon. That's the worst play of the season. 39.
I just don't get what they're doing with this offense. You have a 6'5" giant of a quarterback with a rocket arm, and you have him out here running this gimmick-ass offense. This is the type of offense that you run with like a 13-year-old on NCAA. Like, this is not – I just don't get why they're doing this with an NFL quarterback. And at this point, I just feel like it is a complete indictment on James Franklin and the construction of this staff, given the roster that he has. He knew who his quarterback was. He knows who his next quarterback is, and Ethan Grunkenmeyer. He's not a running quarterback either, but you go out and you get this gimmicky offensive coordinator from Kansas, and you're paying for it. You've seen the worst 2 years out of Drew Aller. He's doing the best Dabo impression with the regression of ruining a 5-star while you have them in your ranks. And then Jim Knowles doesn't have Ohio State and Ryan Day and goes out there and gives up 42 to a player that he just played on a better team last year with comparable talent on his defense, Q. It's just a total failure by James Franklin. And at this point, I've always been James Franklin beats the teams he's supposed to beat and loses to the teams that he is actually inferior to. He's not better than Ohio State. He shouldn't beat Ohio State. They're not better than Oregon. They shouldn't beat Oregon. You can't go lose to someone younger than me coaching their first game. They said the coach that beat him did not even know how to use the fucking headsets, Q.
I saw the interview.
Fireable offense.
Yeah.
And that's why I said it's not even just a fireable offense. That's a walk home offense. Didn't get to ride the team playing home offense. Him and his wife had to Uber to a hotel, not the team hotel. They had their shit in garbage bags out front. Like, I don't know how you go on from this, because clearly James Franklin just showed his ass and said, you know what? Moment's too big. Like, you saw Ryan Day pick himself up off the mat after he lost to Michigan last year and go on an insane run through the playoffs to win a national championship, and his team is still rolling and more focused than ever. And you watch James Franklin not be able to recover against a regular season loss that you saw the Buckeyes have the exact same loss last year. You're literally trying to go out here and be the Buckeyes of last year. You have the veteran quarterback. You go out and you get things in the transfer portal. You go out and get the stud coordinator. You bring all of the older guys back. And you're unranked by week 7 before the Ohio State game. Like, you can't even do us a favor of being ranked when we come play, or when they come play us.
Yeah, I believe that. I think we'll probably get a superhero performance out of them just because they got nothing left. I think we need to create new offenses for James Franklin because I think we got to make up some on the fly. That's like you got to walk barefoot through the streets of Philly offense while you step on a rock. Like we need to come up with a few more. I hate to ask this question.
You gotta walk barefoot through Kensington until you step on a needle.
Yeah. You deserve to get your ass whooped after that. I'm going to ask this question, a question I should not be asking with the state of the teams they are on. But if you had a draft pick next May, and or is it a draft pick next April, you have to pick Drew Aller or Nico. Who are you taking for your Pittsburgh Steelers?
What draft pick do I get to use? Because if it's like, do I have to take Drew Aller in the first or I get Nico in the 7th? Give me Nico in the 7th. Keep that, bro.
You got to pick one or the other. Let's say say Drew Aller's stock falls because he's just not doing shit all season, which he hasn't done shit all season, so we can just keep it trending. You got a 5th round pick. Who are you taking, Nico or Drew Aller?
I'm taking Nico.
Damn.
I'm absolutely taking Nico.
Well, he actually looked good despite playing with you, me, Mike, Chris.
That's what I'm saying. You've been making fun of
Robert,
the UCLA wide receivers all season. Cute. I'm going with Nico just because I'm just so off the Drew train, and I know that sounds crazy and hyperbolic, but it's just like I don't want that anywhere near my team, and that's where I'm at. If we're wasting a 5th round pick, give me the dude that was balling out in pajamas and 7-on-7, not whatever the fuck Drew Aller's been doing for 4 years at this point now. Bro, they're already starting to have the argument on Penn State boards. Is Sean Clifford a better quarterback than Drew Aller?
I mean, at least
they don't call him the Cliff Goat for nothing.
I say, at least we've seen Nico do it, not consistently, but he's done it. I don't know if we really ever seen it from Drew. My next follow-up, because this is even more important. Does Drew Aller's next DMs get answered?
I mean, if he keeps playing like this, he's not going to need his DMs because he's going to be on Love Island in the year. If he keeps playing like this, bro, he's going to be Canadian, the CFL quarterback Drew Aller on Love Island. I was just watching Bomani. He said if Shador can't beat out Dylan Gabriel, it's just time to start a podcast. And I just like to let him know there's a home here for him here at Dead Air Sports if things don't go well in the NFL.
I'll start a sideshow with Drew Aller because it'll probably get banned pretty early on if it's on this channel. That's a question for you, Drew. I need some follow-up. Oh man, yeah, that was always a big one, but they weren't alone. We had Texas this weekend go to Florida in what we called a trap game that shouldn't be. And Ron James, goddamn it, you were right.
And you know how I've been so accurate on all of these? These games shouldn't be close, but they're going to be. Because everyone fucking stinks. And I've been saying this all episode, and that should be the name of the episode. Everyone stinks. Because, we have now talked about Steve Sarkisian, James Franklin, and Lincoln Riley now. Coaches that they used to compare to Ryan Day. But before we talk about that, Q, talk to me about what the hell happened in this Texas-Florida game.
A few things happened. One, Arch is an absolute pedestrian. Jesus Christ. Two, I gave, even though Texas came in, they didn't do much offensively. I gave that Texas defense a lot of credit. Man, boy, I thought I saw Jeremiah Smith playing on Saturday the way Dallas Wilson was running through this defense. I was like, did he transfer? Like, did Jeremiah Smith go back to Florida and put on 6? Because Jesus Christ, they couldn't tackle that man. He looked like an All-American. And they were, again.
6 catches, 111 yards, 2 touchdowns.
He looked like an All-American all the time. I'm like, damn. Man, I really don't know. You know what? Don't even ask me. I asked Cole. I said, what the hell happened on Saturday? He said, man, ... should have stayed my ass home. Like, I don't know. He had great seats
16
too,
of
which was
29. Go ahead. Cool had great seats.
Too, which was yeah, fifth row.
Arch Manning, well, he had fifth row seats to Arch Manning, 16 of 29, 263 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 1 should-be interception, a drop by Cormani McClain, almost an interception. Q, I don't know if the person wants to be revealed as a Manning slanderer, but I got a text two plays before that almost interception that said, "You're getting ready to watch Arch Manning throw one of the most disgusting interceptions of his career." And what do you know? 2 plays later, throws it right into the hands of Cormani McClain, and he loses the ball after he makes contact with the ground. You're starting to see the clips resurface of Arch Manning playing against worse talent than we did in high school, and people are starting to say, was he overrated? I'm like, was he? And see, I can't take a victory lap because I was so convinced by every other recruiting site that I didn't have the balls to not make him not a Ron 3 5-star. He was ranked 25 in the Ron 3 rankings, but I did have multiple quarterbacks ahead of him. One even worse than him. But it's clear he was not the prospect, and everybody who told you that he wasn't playing against high-level talent, he was avoiding the camp circuit and didn't deserve to be the quarterback that he was ranked to be. And then you watched him not steal the job from Quinn Ewers, a 7th-round pick in the NFL draft. It was almost like Steve Sarkisian was telling you, this kid is not better than Quinn Ewers. And now you have people apologizing to Quinn. And it's like they threw Quinn out the door. Now they're wishing for him back. The Buckeye fans would have never treated you like that. You should have just stayed a Buckeye.
I mean, I don't want to go on this for all day, but this is almost a whole episode in itself. It's like, one, we talked about Arch so much coming out of high school, and that's what we said. Of course, Texas fans, being Texas fans, they defended him, and he's related to the Mannings, and he doesn't need the camp. What do you mean? He can call Peyton whenever he wants and not play football. Then he's
the way they talked about it, you would have thought that he had Peyton on his AirPods during the game. The way they hyped him up as such as a can't miss, bro. You would have thought Peyton would have been calling the plays and telling him what to do in game, the way they made it seem like there was no chance in the world. Peyton's nephew. It's not even like it's his son. It's not even like he was like living in the same home as Eli or Peyton, like a Hall of Fame quarterback. Like, no. Why did everyone just assume this dude was going to be the next Peyton Manning?
I mean, the way people talked about him, I'll go a step further. It was like it was Freaky Saturday, and they just trade bodies for the game. If Baker was out there, please.
You know what the only explanation is, right?
What's the explanation?
What's my theory on what boosts your ratings more than anything as a quarterback?
NIL?
Fuck if you could throw a deep ball. If you can dance.
Oh, you can dance.
If you can dance, bro, it'll automatically bump you up at least 1.5 stars. It's a guaranteed.
Yeah, you haven't been wrong in that. It's a great video. You should check it out on TikTok.
That's what I'm saying. If you can dance, it automatically boosts your star rating.
But I will say it's absolutely utter collapse for Texas. If Arch Manning, and this is the Arch Manning we're going to get for the rest of the season, this is a failure on Steve Sarkisian. Like, bring in a quarterback that can compete. Like, bring in some competition. Like, you don't got to bring in a guy to start, but at least have another guy on the roster that can play. If this is the bet, if dude was an absolute stud, I mean, we said there with Justin Fields, like, damn, we sure hope he doesn't trip over a blade of grass because we got no one else. But Justin Fields was a first rounder. Like, if this was the best you were going to get off of Arch Manning, go get me a John Mateer. Go get me somebody who you feel like, if all else fails, this guy can steer the ship, but I have enough talent around me to win games. Right now, Arch Manning is losing you games. Like, he's losing you games. And that is just inexcusable with how much money Texas spends and how much talent is on that roster. It's absolutely inexcusable.
Just lighting money on fire. Q, I wanted to get into the main topic of the show. Long gone are the days of Sark, Riley, and Franklin comparisons to Ryan Day. We've officially classified Dabo Sweeney, or as I like to call him, Dabo Weenie, a bozo, and Kirby Smart is the only person left standing in the way of Ryan Day from completely taking over the sport of college football. Ever since Nick Saban left the sport, it feels like it left a void that Kirby Smart was destined to fill after going back-to-back in national championships. But now you look at where the Georgia program is, back to not the greatest quarterback play. You're not playing defense at an all-time level right now. It looks like the college football landscape is wide open for the taking if anyone can step past Kirby Smart. Ryan Day already has one in the holster. If he's able to get a second national championship, is it his time to have his Saban run?
I mean, is there anything holding him back? I mean, you talk about Kirby Smart. Kirby Smart clearly has a Kerry Combs problem. Like he like Bobo down there calling plays, clearly not working. And when Georgia started to get it rolling, well, they had that offense with who was the offense coordinator? Todd Monken. There we go. When they had Todd Monken down there, they were rolling on offense and defense. It was like, oh man, like this is a team year in, year out, like Alabama has been. That's just gonna be, you're gonna have to see them eventually. And when you do, is they're a tough out. Like that, Georgia has gone so much back to reality to what they were before Stetson Bennett got there and turned up, to where it's like, yeah, they're gonna play good defense, maybe not great defense, but good defense, and they're beatable. Like Bama does it every year, which they continue to do. So if Georgia is gonna be like that, we talk about Miami with absolute money to burn, that talent is rostered to where they can win in spite of Mario and not because of Mario. There is not much else out there right now. Like Texas, I don't believe Texas will be like this year in, year out, but am I worried about Sark? No. Unless a team pops up like, I don't know, Texas Tech keeps spending astronomical money, but they play in the Big 12, so I don't think I'll ever be worried about them. I'll have to see it to believe it. There's nothing stopping Ryan Day other than Michigan.
We're talking about who could be the next Saban in college football, and you just fucking said Texas Tech. Who is Texas Tech's head coach?
I don't know. I'm just
that's Mario. What I'm saying.
Mario Jr. All I know, they spent a lot of money and they're starting to win games.
They're spending money and they're starting to win games, but they got a while to go before they get there. And Q, you look at Ryan Day's resume, 2 national championship appearances, 1 win, 3-3 in the playoffs. I don't think anyone's expecting the next person to rule college football to put on a Saban-like dynastic run with 6 national championships. But like you said, Franklin does not seem like a threat. Sarkisian does not seem like a threat. Lincoln Riley is not a threat to this Ryan Day attempt at a dynasty. Outside of Kirby Smart, is there anyone else that could get in the way? And if someone doesn't get in the way, it's not going to be 6 national championships. But what does it look like if someone does take the reins and assert themselves as the next Saban in college football?
I mean, it looks like an organization. I mean, the only team I could really think of right now, and that's because they have all the resources in the world, but yet don't have the Mario holding you back problem. Maybe it's Dan Lanning, but we've already beat Dan Lanning, so we've seen it. I mean, I expect him to be that person that you're going to have to cross. Maybe not for Ohio State because we played in the same conference, so in the playoffs you probably wouldn't see him to maybe the championship, but there may be a constant roadblock as it sits currently. But outside of that, I mean, I think Ohio State's biggest fear is themselves, like going cheap on NIL and maybe not getting the player you want, but settling for a player down the line. Maybe coaching or hires, which we really haven't seen lately, with Jim Knowles being a hit, Nazi Matt Patricia being a hit. Brian Hartline is currently a hit after Chip Kelly was a hit. I mean, we'll see if that goes
James
through the
season. Tim Walton, Perry Eliano. I mean, they've hit after hit after hit. Keenan Bailey has absolutely leveled up the tight end room. Coach Locke to replace Tony Alford. Like, Justin Fry was a hit. Tyler Bowen, and he said, I'm going to grab insurance here. I'm going to grab Tyler Bowen and 2 other offensive line coaches. So, I mean, from a hiring standpoint, from a CEO standpoint, from a culture standpoint, from an X's and O's standpoint, from a willingness to change standpoint, Ryan Day seems to be destined to take this step if Kirby Smart doesn't get in his way. And like, I'm not going to write Kirby off, because Kirby Smart could come out here and get things right at Georgia. And like I say, get things right as if like this season's over. Kirby Smart could come out here and win a national championship at Georgia this year and go up 2 on the scoreboard as far as national championships. But it feels like the college football landscape is wide open for either one of these guys to grab hold of it. And we keep saying Ryan Day is not building a program. He's building an organization and an approach that he's taking. And it seems like the Buckeyes are absolutely rolling right now. An odd class for them. That's the only thing. You see the weird class with all of the upheaval and rulings around NIL. The Buckeyes took a more conservative approach this year. And you think the Buckeyes may, going forward, hopefully ramp back up the recruiting that saw them land Jeremiah Smiths and countless other 5-stars on this roster. So outside of that, I mean, that could be the only thing that potentially slows this Ohio State train. But what would you consider ruling the sport in college football in this modern landscape?
I mean, when I think of ruling sport, I just think it's like that boogeyman that you have to see at the end of the season. And that's how I think about it. I mean, you don't have to win a national championship every year, but if like Clemson and like Bama were before, I mean, I wouldn't say Georgia, because it really was just a couple years in there and then they've kind of faded. It's like you knew you had to win a national championship. You knew you had to go through those teams. Ohio State has had so many near misses and they've been close. They've been close for a long time, but they've had so many near misses or this messed us up. You can't have those, because teams have been able to win championships and not see Ohio State. Luckily for them, you didn't have to play the 2015 team. Well, really lucky for you, because they were really fucking good. Like, you can't have those. You can't have those. And it's harder now because of the playoffs and it's expanded. So a loss to Michigan or one loss during the season doesn't really put you out, even 2 losses as we've seen last year. So at this point, if you just got to be the boogeyman of like, yo, every year we're going to win a championship, we got to play through Ohio State. Consistently be in Final Fours, more consistently be in championship games. And I think if Ohio State is in championship games with the way we've seen them prepare for bowl games, certain things like that in the Ryan Day tenure, you feel like you have a good chance to win. So I would say every 4 years, you're looking at trying to get 2 championships, maybe hopefully a third. You look at it right now, it's like there's really no reason not to, unless you really shoot yourself in the foot. And Ohio State is known for shooting themselves in the foot, but it's gonna need even more of that to keep them out with the new playoff expansion.
I mean, is there any excuse given when you look at the landscape? Like, Ryan Day and Kirby Smart have clearly ascended themselves into a tier of their own, and it's like you're kind of disappointed if either one of these coaches lose. I mean, head to head, is there another coach in the country other than Dan Lanning? And Dan Lanning, if he's able to snatch a national championship here in the next year or two, has another opportunity with all the resources in the world at Oregon to potentially elevate into that conversation. But if you look at that pillow right up behind my head, it has the same number of national championships as Oregon printed right on it. And to bet on them not only winning one, but multiple seems outlandish. That's why you look at the landscape and it seems wide open for Ryan Day to potentially become the new face of college football, because that void still does exist without Nick Saban. And I think it's his for the taking.
Yeah, I mean, again, for Ohio State to lose, it's going to take one of those games where it's like, well, Julian Sayin threw 5 picks. What can we do? Like a Vinny Testaverde type game with the team you're currently like. It's going to take some of those performances where we don't see from Ohio State. We see near losses in games that we shouldn't have, that we just don't get a chance. Now, currently, with us getting a chance pretty much in the playoffs year in, year out, unless a tumultuous regular season, like you don't feel like that's out there. And again, I think Dan Lanning will have a shot. I mean, I would say the next 5 years, Oregon should have a good chance to get one. Kirby needs to fire his OC and move on, or I'm not going to be worried about Kirby. Mike Bobo going against Matt P. Okay. Like, all right. Okay, buddy. I love to see that one. And I don't care how much
money. The ball.
Yeah. And I don't care how much money Miami spent on their roster to get to where it is this season. I still don't see it, and I don't think they're going to be consistent until they show me they can develop a quarterback and not hope somebody just falls to them. It is the next gem, as Carson Beck and Cam Ward have been. So until then, I mean, there's nothing really stepping in Ryan Day's way. And you look at this season, people talk about strength of schedule. They talk about what they want. I need to see a team step on the field with Ohio State and beat them. And I have a feeling it's outside of Michigan, probably not going to happen. Michigan has a chance because the rivalry game is playing a parallel universe.
Exactly. That is, we need that printed on a t-shirt. Rivalry games are played in a parallel universe. The one other thing that I feel like lends to Ryan Day in this conversation is it feels like Ryan Day has become the Nick Saban of rehabilitation in college football. Come stand next to Ryan Day and your career takes off, and you see Chip Kelly, his former mentor, return as his offensive coordinator, and then becomes one of the highest paid offensive coordinators in the NFL. Matt Patricia turns his defense into one of the greatest defenses that we've seen thus far through 5 games and a long time at Ohio State. And the NFL is going to be calling, other teams are going to be calling. We just watched Jim Knowles get poached. Does Penn State spin back and try to get our defensive coordinator again?
We need you. You're from Philly, right?
Exactly. So it'll be interesting to see if Ryan Day is able to maintain these coordinators, but it looks like he's shown an ability to continue to hire. And you see like a Mike Bobo hire, you see like a Kerry Combs hire, how much that can derail a program and set them back 1, 2, even 3 years to before they're able to recover from one of those types of hires. And I felt like that was one of the things that made Saban great, was constantly never missing. And when he did miss, he still had enough great coaches around him to be able to fill that void, and he would move on from those coaches quickly. Ryan Day seems to, I think that's one of the things that lends most to Ryan Day potentially being able to do this, is his willingness to change and adjust and not be stuck in his ways. I don't think there's a coach in college football that has done a better job adjusting to the current landscape, whether that be the changing in clocks, whether that be recruiting periods, NIL, visits, all of the things. It feels like Ryan Day is constantly deliberately attacked flaws in the program, whether that be, we talk about the infamous June visit weekend. What was that, in 2022, where they had 20 plus people visit, no one commit.
Yeah.
And then the next year, Ryan Day completely overhauls the visit staff and the amount of resources that goes into that. He's just such a willingness to change, even after bringing Kerry Combs back, making that mistake and saying 2 games in, this is not working, and making Matt Barnes not much better, but a willingness to make the change. I feel like in an ever-changing landscape of college football, Ryan Day is the perfect coach to do it, and I feel like the Buckeyes are positioned to potentially go on a dynastic run.
Yeah, and if you truly think about it, something Ryan Day and people may have not noticed, but us looking into the program so much see, it feels like the better Ryan Day steps away from what we knew him as, this offensive guru, this quarterback guru, and starts to say, okay, you can handle that. You can handle this. It seems like he's getting a lot better as a head coach. And we talk about his hands on the defense a couple of years ago with the Kerry Combs fiasco, bringing Matt P., who seems to like it here. And if he does, fucking look out college football. But you see him step away, and we're like, Ryan Day, stop calling plays. Like, let Hartline go do it. Like, let Chip Kelly go do it. And you felt like that has been even an accelerated push into Ryan Day being better, and what we get on Saturday of he's known as in these little things, which he never would have said 3 years ago because he wouldn't have seen it. He's worried about calling the next play. He's worried about if Bo reaches the ball over. He's just worried about getting in the end zone and hoping Kerry Combs doesn't give up another touchdown, or people don't fall down and Georgia walk in the end zone. Like, that's more stuff he was worried about. So I think that's even scarier for college football, because he can truly take that Nick Saban role, because the more he steps out, it feels like the better he gets as a coach. And I don't know if you feel that same way too, but that's something I'm really starting to notice. It's like, when this guy is hands off, like, and what did they say when Ryan Day first got hired around the hoodie, the Woody? They were like, you know what?
I don't know. What did they say around the hood when Ryan Day got hired?
around the hood?
What was they saying around the hood?
Oh, Day's coming. Everybody, the wire, Ryan's
the whistle. Ryan Day start coming out to the Marlin whistle.
Everyone high, no, but oh man, but yeah, it feels like around the Woody when Ryan Day first got hired, they talk about how it was comfortable. They were like, oh, but guys like being there. It don't feel like you hear those same things today. That Ryan Day stepped away from his office. And it's like freshmen are like, this dude nuts. Like, what is going on with this coach? And again, that transformation, and I'll let you weigh in on it, but it's scary for college football.
I absolutely love it. I love what I'm seeing from Ryan Day, and it feels like he has put all the demons behind him. And like, I feel like the final thing in here, honestly, I think this is going to be the deciding factor of how this goes as far as Ryan Day's trajectory, because if he goes out there and loses to Michigan again, it's going to be a stain so big that I don't think he'll ever get his just due, despite whatever he does in the college football playoff, whatever he does in the Big Ten championship. He has to start beating Michigan, not every year. My standard is every year, but
most
years we need to get back to beating Michigan on a regular basis. And after losing 5 straight, I think Buckeye fans would like to go a couple years without hearing from Michigan fans, and that starts with beating them on the 3rd Saturday in November. And I think that is Ryan Day's first step into proving that he is ready to take that step as the face of college football.
Yeah, I mean, that's the last monkey so on his back. He got the national championship off, and you saw the progression of that. I mean, hell, he beats Michigan and, God forbid, wins another one. I mean, what the press conference look like next season before the season?
It's gonna look like that. It's gonna look like that meme when the guy pulls up to the gas station and steps out the car with the Gators and walks into the gas station with the cane and the mink coat down to the floor. That's how Ryan Day should be walking into these press conferences if he beats Michigan and gets a second national title.
I agree. So we'll see there, but yeah, I'm with you. There's as it looks right now, there's a lot of, I guess, parity in college football. There's a lot of teams playing better than they should.
That's a polite way to say a lot of these teams stink, Q.
It just feels like the even out effect has hit everyone else. Like, I don't feel like we've evened out, but I feel like a lot of college football has, and it looks so different. Like it really does. It's kind of crazy.
At the top, it's just us. I got one more recruiting update before we get out of here, Q. Kamari Bing decommits from Maryland. You may be wondering, who is that? He is the 904th ranked player in the class of 2026. He is from St. Francis Academy, a powerhouse out of Baltimore. And he just recently visited the Buckeyes this past weekend. Also has offers from Alabama and a visit scheduled for the Crimson Tide. Q, you're Mr. Flip Watch this time of year. You're more watching our class and who's trying to steal from our class. Do the Buckeyes get them a flip themselves here?
I mean, it sounds like it. I mean, I have more been in season mode than recruiting mode, but I mean, if I watch this defense,
what? We're the number one recruiting podcast in the land.
Yeah, as long as Ron James is my co-host, we will not be the number one recruiting podcast in the land, unless it's on the Ron 3 rankings. I hate to tell you, but
yeah,
but I will say the way this team has looked through the first 6 weeks of the season. The way Matt P has his defense playing, I mean, I'm shocked if more guys don't start saying, hey, I want to play there and look like an absolute pro. I mean, you talk about first-time starters on the field that may not be here very long. That's a big signal. Now, college recruiting is weird, but for a kid from Maryland, St. Francis, obviously, story program, definitely a lot of talent there. And if you're playing there, you're usually a good player. I don't care what your ranking is. It looks good, and Alabama's in there. So I expect Ohio State to get one, and I expect this not to be the end. I think they're going to make some tread, and I think they said, oh, hold off. We're not going to do too much before the season ends as far as recruiting. I think Ohio State will do a little bit to get this class in shape as they wanted to. So I will look out for that. But, yeah, if it's us and Bama for safety where their safeties are playing, I'll take that as a flip prospect.
Q, it's October 7th. We're putting it on the record. Over, under 1.5 flips for the Buckeyes in their favor.
Where's Cleveland Mike at? I will take the over. I think it's a good chance, especially the way signing day goes, and when it gets close and the cold feet that happens. Ohio State keeps it up. I think they can get 2 or 3.
2 or 3. Wow, that's bold there. I'm not quite willing to go there. I just said the other day I haven't heard much smoke around recruiting hype picking up. I mean, this is like the first. Maybe I'm out of the loop. You guys let me know if I'm wrong. If there's any other people that I should be on the lookout as potential flip alerts for the Buckeyes, put it in the comments, and I will do my research. Q. Shout out to everyone that stayed here for 80 minutes because we went long today, but we had plenty to talk about. I feel like our national show is becoming like my favorite day of the week because it's literally us just shit talking about teams complaining about things that we spent 3 years complaining about that we don't have to complain about no more. It's like I used to pray for times like this.
Nah, whole facts. I mean, again, as crazy as the season would be, there may not be a lot of great teams out there, but the season has delivered. I mean, especially at the weekend season. You look at the schedule, you're like, I don't know about this weekend. They deliver every week.
They deliver every week, and so do we right here Monday through Friday on Dead Air Sports. The Buckeye Roast has a new time. We are officially at 10 a.m. every morning, Monday through Friday. Q, let the people know where they can find you after they smash that like button.
Well, it is free, so make sure you do that. Hit that like, hit that sub button. If you are not sub, if you're on Twitter, go ahead and retweet and find your way over here as well. Yes, shout out to Robert again for gifting the subs. We greatly appreciate that. Remember, Chris Drew does a lot of members content, so if you do want to see that, and if you want to see the live show on Friday, hit that sub button. Help us out there. If you want to find me, I'm City with Quitting on Twitter, Flynet Johnson on Instagram, but I am very easy to find. If it's 10 a.m. and it's Monday through Friday, I'll be right here on the Buckeye Roast on Dead Air Sports. So make sure you tune into that and hit that like button yet again. Ron, where can they find you at?
You can find me here Monday through Fridays right here on Dead Air Sports for the Buckeye Roast at 10 a.m. The new start time. You can catch me in the Bleacher Report at Post Games with Chris Drew for instant reactions after the game. You can catch me on the X app on the timeline at 2Ts2_TEES. Q, we got all kinds of content coming out on the channel. We got shorts, we got short form videos, long form videos, I-71 episodes, tons of content. Make sure you hit that notification bell. You make sure that you're subscribed. 50% of the people that watch this show are not subscribed. If you're still listening 82 minutes into this episode and have not liked the video, let us know in the comments why you hate us. Q, you know how this thing ends. It's always go Bucks. And of course, OH.
IO.
Yeah.